Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Monday to you on this July 21st, 2025. I have all of your stories for your rush hour ride home, including Keelan Bristow and her new project she's hosting. Which Bachelor alum is she teaming up with? I'll share that story. And Jack Black and the breakup of Tenacious D. What led to the demise? And will they make a reunion? And of course, we'll be talking about the Blake Lively subpoena as content creators are now fighting back. The judge now says you can file as an anonymous person. A lot of little things there to get into. And on the back half of this episode, we've got big-time MAGA influencers explaining why they're leaving the MAGA movement. We'll also have more on the Epstein files as conversations continue regarding what actually might be in them. And Shane Gillis, a very famous comedian and relatively right-leaning voice of the sort of comedy world, discusses how insane it is that these Epstein files are not being addressed after years of sort of igniting the wildfire. So lots to get into. All these stories and more start right now on The Rush. To get a look at our box office. You know, on Mondays, we like to take a good look at the box office, how things are playing out. Superman flies to $407 million global. Jurassic World Rebirth at $648 million. Then they've got Demon Slayer, Infinity Castle setting the records in Japan. I mean, I'll be quite honest. There's nothing here that's making me want to go to the box office. But boy, long live the death of the rom-com, right? Rom-coms have been relegated to Netflix and Hulu. I get it. What better place to be if you're looking to get a little flirty out there than on your own couch? I understand. No one's spending $80 on popcorn to go watch Anne Hathaway. Or are they? Hold on. Hold on. Where is it? There it is. Anne Hathaway shares The Devil Wears Prada 2. First look amid filming. So again, when is this movie going to come out? The long-awaited sequel to the beloved 2006 comedy drama. Hathaway is returning alongside original co-star Meryl Streep, Emily Blunt, and Stanley Tucci, plus director David Frankel and screenwriter Aline Brosh McKenna. Andy Sachs, 2025, Hathaway captioned the first look photo of her character. So again, I don't think I would go to the movies to see it, but if Devil Wears Prada 2 wants to show up on my Netflix, we'll give it a click. You know, it's not going to send me to the racing to the screen is this new show. Hulu schedules Virgin Dating Show. Colton Underwood and Caitlin Bristow to host. You know, I like the pair on one level. Like, I like that he was a virgin, she was kind of sex positive when they were hosts. But you guys know me, and if you don't, you know, my channel first got its legs from calling out Colton Underwood because he stalked and harassed his ex, Cassie Randolph, a real sweetheart. I've gotten the chance to meet her several times. She's an absolute sweetheart. But he put a tracking device on in her car. He never publicly, he apologized for things, but he never, properly said what he did was wrong. He, faked his own stalker. He created a fake phone number and was texting himself and Cassie pretending to be someone else. I mean, it's absolutely he is the reason why, if you have good PR and a big enough following, you can overcome things like that. If someone like me did that, I mean, I'd be dead in the water here. But no, he's fallen up the ladder, as it were. Originally dubbed Virgin Island, the reality show, so it's called Are You My First, is set to premiere August 18th on Hulu in the US and Disney+. All right, I'll give it a look. I'll see if it's any good, but I don't know. I watched the Coming Out Colton Netflix show and I was just so underwhelmed. I guess probably because I knew too much. Like, on one end, I totally felt for him living in a body that wasn't what he, hiding his sexuality amongst his Christianity and going on a dating show. But it's like, bro, I'd have a lot more respect if he did a bombshell interview where he aired it all out, but he never did that. And for that reason, I'm just like, meh. Whereas Caitlin Bristow is the opposite. She'll air it all out. So I got a lot of respect for her. And I don't blame her for working with Colton. I really don't. I mean, you got to, take care of your career. I don't know. King Charles facing backlash. You know us, big royal media company here. We like to cover all the royal news. He faces backlash after 11 of his 12 gardeners quit over low wages. By the way, and again, I don't know what the tax situation is over there in England. Is the royal family, are they hoarding all of the wealth? What do they do? What does King Charles do that he needs 12 gardeners? If I'm retired, I think I just do the gardening myself. You get a fresh tan, you go out there, you can burn some calories. The Sunday Times reported that High Grove employees have complained of poor conditions and pay as low as the minimum wage. Yeah, I like to talk about pay transparency, especially within the royal family. How is the royal family still a thing? I have no idea. I really don't. I don't understand. So they just have all of these colonies all around the world, and they're worth a lot of money, but they don't really do. Okay, I know. Hey, look, there's going to be people out there getting very upset with me. My royal family was Tenacious D. If you don't know Tenacious D, it's Jack Black and the other guy. I don't know the other guy's name. But George Clooney was forced Jack Black to break up Tenacious D after Trump assassination comment, journalist claims. I don't know how true this is, but Tenacious D, look, I mean, people make mistakes, right? His partner made a joke on stage about right after the Trump assassination. And it's like, obviously you got to be careful because we're talking about at the time, the guy, former president running for president. And he made a joke and he played up to the audience and they cheered. And then Jack Black, being a large member of Hollywood, made the decision to cut ties with his bandmate. And a lot of people were like really bummed out about that because they're like bros. My thought was, even though they had broke up, that it was going to be like, all right, they'll break up for a couple years, then they'll do a reunion tour. But I think they literally stopped their tour. In a long interview with former President Joe Biden's son Hunter, reporter Andrew Callahan alleges that George Clooney ordered Jack Black to break up Tenacious D after the duo's guitarist Kyle Gass asked that Thomas Matthew Crooks, who allegedly attempted to assassinate Donald Trump in 2024, aim a little higher next time. Now, again, honestly, yeah, of course it's horrible, but that's the danger of comedy, right? He was telling a joke and it landed in the room, but of course it led to outrage and how dare you? And I get it, but at the same time, I would have respected Jack Black if he had a little bit of loyalty to somebody who, I can understand you make 10 jokes in a row. It's like, bro, you're sinking my career. But, anyhow, I'm looking forward to a reunion. 2.5 hours into the video, following a claim that George Clooney's wife, Amal, was responsible for a full-page advertisement requesting an arrest warrant for Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Callahan says, my only really famous Hollywood friend is actor Jack Black. We used to be neighbors in LA, and Tenacious D did a concert in Sydney, Australia, the day after they tried to assassinate Trump. And I guess Jack Black's guitarist or whatever jumps up on stage and yells something to the effect of, hey, next time you try to shoot Trump, aim a little bit closer. And by the way, it wasn't that, the guitarist, they were like a duo. They make jokes back and forth to each other. So anyhow, of course, it just, it didn't, where I stand on it is like, I think you're entitled to apologize and not have to cancel your whole band. George Clooney is blowing his phone up being like, if you don't kick your band member out of the band and publicly denounce this guy, I don't know what the consequences were, but it was kind of like, you're out. Out of what? We don't know. And so his hand was basically forced to be like, sorry, my band member has serious mental health problems. We're breaking up the band for now. The tour is canceled. Okay. And then they, in parentheses, say, this is not an entirely accurate recounting of events. And listen, I know I saved the politics for the back end of the show, but where am I supposed to put my Jack Black news? You know what I mean? This is the only place I could fit it in. So, all right, let's move it on. Blake Lively stuff coming next. Today's podcast is sponsored by Quince. Now, you guys know me. I'm not a style guru. I like clothes that fit well and last, which is why I love Quince. Quince has the kind of stuff you'll actually wear on repeat, like breathable flow knit polos, crisp cotton shirts, and comfortable lightweight pants that somehow work for both weekend hangs and dressed up dinners. The best part, everything with Quince is half the cost of similar brands. I mean, trust me, go check out their leather jackets. Fall's around the corner. I got to go buy a new bomber, get ready for, nighttime stand-up. By working directly with top artisans and cutting out the middlemen, Quince gives you luxury pieces without the markups. Stick to the staples that last with elevated essentials from Quince. Go to quince.com/rushhour for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/rushhour to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/rushhour. What's interesting about the Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni case, as we continue to talk about it, is that the content creators are starting to fight back. There have been something like 16, up to 60, 16 content creators plus others that have been subpoenaed. I know the list keeps growing, from YouTubers to TikTokers to Twitter commenters, some with hundreds of thousands of followers, some with 300, some with even less than that. And some big ones haven't been subpoenaed. And that's the question, like, why have some been subpoenaed and some haven't? Well, here's what It Ends With Lawsuits posted, talking about Bethany Frankel. You know, Bethany Frankel, she's not afraid to speak her mind. She's worth a ton of money thanks to her skinny bitch margarita line. Blake is accusing Tag and Wayfair of contacting content creators in a coordinated effort to smear her online. Meanwhile, it is obvious from this video that it was actually Blake's team reaching out to content creators in order to change her disastrous PR image. Everything Blake does is projection. Why hasn't Blake subpoenaed Bethany Frankel? Oh, because the truth would come out that it was actually her doing the things she's accusing Wayfair of doing. Yeah, there's that whole idea that, you know, when you point a finger at me, you point four back at you or whatever. Or you understand what I'm trying to say. That when you make claims against someone else, it's probably something you might have either considered doing or have done. And this video they're referencing of Bethany Frankel, she months ago spoke out about actually being contacted by somebody within this court case. She didn't necessarily say if it was Blake's side or Justin's side, but it was heavily implied that she was reached out to by Blake Lively's side. So again, this idea that Blake is selectively subpoenaing some folks that have all said they have nothing to do with it. I think audiences, for the most part, believe content creators because, you know, they live and die by their authenticity, right? It's like, for me, why would I lie to my audience when I've been nothing but an open book? And I've told people I've never been contacted by anybody. The only time anyone, even within the circle of Baldoni's, you know, world has contacted me is when I randomly was at a comedy show, a show I wasn't billed on, so they didn't come to see me, and somebody that claimed to be close friends with Justin Baldoni came up to me and said they appreciate, you know, my content and the way I go about things. I've had actually a lot of people from the Baha'i faith reach out to me just because it's a, you know, small religion. So I think when someone tries to do their religion justice, I think they appreciate that. You know, it's a sign of respect, really. But what's interesting, and I'm not here trying to throw gasoline on the fire, Nick Viall originally went hard for Blake Lively and then completely stopped talking. Now, I was just reading through the threads that in the fall, maybe sometime after Blake Lively's lawsuit, but before Justin Baldoni responds. Is this true? I wasn't able to find any records of this, but Nick's podcast actually flew to New York and interviewed either Ryan Reynolds and or Blake Lively. I don't know if it was a combination of the two or just one, which is interesting because Nick's actually had his head so far shoved up Ryan Reynolds' ass that he actually became a puppet. You know, his head's just up there. But, you know, he claims, we look alike, and it's kind of his big deal. And it's like, look, do you, whatever, who cares? But it's been very interesting that, you know, his podcast, one of the biggest, if not the biggest pop culture podcast out there, has remained very quiet after initially going to bat for Blake Lively. Will they be subpoenaed at all? I don't think so. I don't think Justin Baldoni's side is trying to find any information out, but again, we'll have to see. So here we have the letter that was written from our good pal Lauren. She wrote to the judge and said, "I'm writing to formally notify the court of my intent to file a motion to quash the subpoena issued by plaintiff Blake Lively to Google. I'm a non-party independent content creator operating the YouTube channel Lethal Lore 904. Yeah, guys, go give her a subscribe if you haven't. I have no affiliation with any parties involved in the case." And then she lists all the grounds for why she believes she should not be involved. You know, violating my First Amendment rights. She's allowed to comment on it. The fact that Google shouldn't be disclosing her personal information. Improper issuance of the subpoena from the Southern District of New York, exceeding Rule 45's geographic limits. Undue burdensome and overbroad, the subpoena's expansive request for personal identifiers. And basically she says, you have no reason to subpoena me. You have no information, and they have shown no information that can point to the direction. Like, Lauren hasn't been mentioned by anybody in any records we've seen. Now, the accusation by Blake Lively's side was that there's a list that Tag had, and on that list were these content creators. I would love to see it. I would bet my money that everybody that I know isn't lying right now, as I surely also have not been subpoenaed. And I could tell you right now, no one's reached out to me to do their bidding, to do their dirty work. All right, well, that's it. I mean, that's all I've got for the Blake Lively stuff. There'll be more to come. I mean, it's kind of the week before the Blake Lively deposition is supposed to take place. There's a lot of little things going on right now. I kind of struggle. It would be nice to just stop covering this and then come back in March. But these little tic-tacky things, I've got a personal investment in them, because it's like, are we going to let people like Blake Lively really send threatening subpoenas? And it really is threatening to your average, mommy sleuth or someone out there who doesn't have a legal team to support them. A lot of people are just trying to get by. And when they think of how much money it would take to hire a lawyer to try to get involved in this case to, whatever, I mean, it's very, very burdensome. So I feel for those content creators that are, just trying to, get by. I mean, it's really, it's something that you have to stand up to the bullies right now in these moments, or else you're going to set a very bad precedent. All right. Well, coming up next, speaking of bad precedent, we've got MAGA influencers fleeing the MAGA movement. Their words, not mine. I'm going to share what they have to say regarding the botch job, bad handling of the Epstein files. All of that coming next.